You know, almost every small town has one, that one spooky spot that people only talk about in whispers after the sun goes down. A place with a secret. Well, today we're diving into the story of one of those places, the Witch Canal. But let me ask you something first. Have you ever been near a canal, really late at night? Just picture it for a second. It's just you, the dark, still water, and maybe a little bit of moonlight. Okay, now what if that canal had a reputation? What if all the locals swore that a witch, an actual witch, lived there? Yeah, that's exactly the kind of place our story is set in. So let's set the scene. Our story begins in this little village called Chalk number 47, and pretty much everything there revolves around this one very strange canal. You see, this place kind of had two personalities, and it changed completely once the sun went down. During the day, it was the heart of the village. You had kids swimming, people fishing, the elders sitting around chatting. But at night, everything was different. This deep, heavy silence would fall, and the only things you'd hear were dogs barking way off in the distance, and this weird, chilling laughter that seemed to come right from the water itself. Of course, in a story like this, there's always one guy, right? The skeptic. In this village, his name was Shafkat, and he was always loudly telling anyone who'd listen that all this talk about witches was just complete nonsense. Well, that kind of big talk is bound to get you in trouble. And for Shafkat, it all started with a simple bet, a dare, really, and it was all over some samosas. His friend Bilu, probably just sick of hearing him boast, finally called him on it. The challenge was simple. Go to the haunted canal at midnight and just come back. And the prize for this little act of bravery? A whole week of free samosas from Bilu's shop. For a guy like Shafkat, this was a no-brainer. He accepted instantly. I mean, how hard could it possibly be? In his mind, witches were something you see in scary movies, not something you find hanging out by the local canal. He had absolutely no idea what he was walking into. And just like that, the bet was on. Which brings us to Shafkat's midnight walk and the encounter that was waiting for him at the canal. So, 1:45, Shafkat grabs his torch and starts walking. The path is deserted, the air is dead still, and the only sound is the howling of some distant dogs. Feeling pretty confident, he even yells into the darkness, "Hey witch, I'm here," just taunting whatever might be out there listening. And it's almost as if the darkness was listening. The second he gets to the water's edge, splash. A huge sound shatters the silence. He completely freezes, heart pounding, trying to tell himself, it's just a fish. It was just a fish. But then he heard it. That exact sound the villagers always warned him about. Laughter. And this cold dread just washed over him because he knew, instantly, that was not a human laugh. And from there, things escalated fast. His torch started flickering like crazy. A chilling voice whispered his name from the trees. And then he saw it. A white, ghostly figure perched on a branch. But as soon as he managed to shine his flickering light on it, poof, it was gone. So what was that? Standing there in the dark, Shafkat's mind was racing. Was that the witch? Was this whole thing actually real? It was Bilu and his friends hiding up in the tree with a white sheet trying to prank him. They all just burst out laughing, revealing the whole joke. And just like that, the tension was broken. Shafkat was furious, but also, incredibly relieved. He was just about to give them a piece of his mind. But right as he opened his mouth to yell, he stopped. Because all of his friends had stopped laughing too. Their eyes were wide with terror, staring at something right behind him. They weren't looking at him anymore. They were looking past him. The joke was definitely over, so who was standing behind them? It was her. The long hair, the feet turned backwards, the real deal, the real witch. She stood there silently for a moment, and then she began to laugh. The boys screamed and ran for their lives. The prank had gone horribly, horribly wrong. And this brings us to the morning after, and the final secret that was held by the village elders. The next day, Shafkat and his friends were found in a complete state of shock. They couldn't even form a proper sentence. All they could do was sit there, pale and trembling, repeating the same 3 words over and over. She was real. The village elders, though, they weren't surprised. They listened to the whole story, and one of them finally revealed the truth. That wasn't a witch, he explained. She is the old guardian spirit of our village. A guardian spirit. So what is that exactly? Well, it's a pretty common idea in folklore all over the world. It's not an evil entity, but a protector. A spirit that's tied to a specific place, and it only reveals itself to frighten off people who mock or disrespect its home. Well, you can bet Shafqat never boasted again, and he definitely never went near that canal after dark. But the story doesn't quite end there. The villagers say that if you're near the canal late at night, even today, you can still hear that strange, inhuman laughter echoing over the water. Which leaves us with a final, chilling little thought. So, if you happen to be listening to this alone right now, maybe just for a second, look outside. It's possible someone is sitting in a tree, laughing.